Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're counting down our picks for the biggest cult classics from the 80s that originally bombed or underperformed at the box office.
See you later, Band-Aid breath.
Number 20, The Dark Crystal.
But today the ceremony of the sun gives no comfort. Today an emperor lies dying. Today a new emperor must seize the throne.
Released in 1982, The Dark Crystal was a bold and ambitious fantasy film created by puppet masters Jim Henson and Frank Oz. Featuring groundbreaking puppetry and a richly detailed world, it stood apart from other family films of the time. However, therein lay the problem. The movie's dark tone and complex mythology confused audiences and critics alike, and it underperformed at the box office with just $41 million. This greatly disappointed Universal Pictures, who had high expectations, but over time, the film gained a devoted cult following, with fans coming to appreciate its unique artistry, innovative special effects, and rich lore. And thanks to home video, conventions, and the internet, The Dark Crystal was eventually recognized as a visionary work far ahead of its time.
And begin, all the same, big change. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Number 19, Xanadu.
Places where nobody dared to go. The love that we came to know, they call it Xanadu.
Playwright Douglas Carter Bean once said, "When you watch Xanadu, you can see the cocaine up on the screen." It's about as succinct a review as one can make. With a budget of $20 million, Xanadu barely broke even with a gross of just $23 million. Critics panned the film for its incoherent plot, cheesy special effects, and ridiculous dance sequences powered by early 80s disco. Cocaine personified. But that's exactly why people love it. Xanadu eventually developed a cult following due to its unique style, vibrant visuals, and catchy soundtrack by Olivia Newton-John and Electric Light Orchestra. It's campy, and it's definitely flawed, but it's also ambitious, and people have come to appreciate that.
Listen, if you're gonna dance, you have to wear something,
That looks special. You need some,
glitz.
glitz? Something sharp looking.
You know, something with a bit of pizzazz to it. Hot.
Number 18, The Adventures of Buckaroo Bonsai Across the Eighth Dimension.
Buckaroo, President's on line 1, calling about is everything okay with the alien spacecraft from Planet 10, or should he just go ahead and destroy Russia?
Tell him yes on 1 and no on 2.
There are reasons why Buckaroo Bonsai bombed at the box office. Least of all is its silly title. The movie had virtually no mainstream marketing, with Fox instead going after the nerd audience by promoting the film in comic books and at Star Trek conventions. It also faced very stiff competition, going up against movies like Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Unsurprisingly, it grossed just $6 million on a $17 million budget. Bomb City. But the movie's quirky tone, quotable dialogue, and imaginative world building have transcended time, and it later found popularity through home video and fun midnight screenings. The oddness that once killed the movie became its greatest strength in cult circles.
Why is there a watermelon there?
I'll tell you later.
Number 17, Labyrinth.
You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power. Power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe.
Jim Henson flopped with The Dark Crystal, so he tried again with Labyrinth. It fared no better. Audiences were unable to appreciate the film and its offbeat tone, unusual characters, and strong fantasy style alienating many mainstream viewers. So despite the star presence of David Bowie, Labyrinth also underperformed. According to his son, Henson entered a dark period following its disappointing release, and he died 4 years later without directing another movie. But like The Dark Crystal, Fans were later drawn to the movie's imaginative world and brilliant practical effects, not to mention Bowie's gloriously campy performance. Before long, nostalgia combined with a growing appreciation for Henson's artistry, transforming Labyrinth into a cult classic.
You've run so long, you've run so far. Your eyes can be so cruel.
Number 16. Flash Gordon.
You promise to use her as you will?
Certainly.
Not to blast her into space? Until such time as you grow weary of her.
Star Wars came out in 1977, changing how science fiction was done. Unfortunately, Flash Gordon did not adhere to its new rules. Unlike Star Wars, which took itself seriously while still telling a fun and pulpy story, Flash Gordon was the opposite. It was campy, flamboyant, and over the top. It was exactly what sci-fi critics hate. And it was exactly what Star Wars tried to kill. In the end, it grossed just $46 million. An enormous disappointment considering the record-shattering money that Star Wars made just a couple years earlier. But over time, divorced from the expectations of the period, Flash Gordon gained cult status. And for the very reasons it was dismissed. Its bold colors, the grandiose soundtrack from Queen, and its campy, self-aware humor.
Flash! Flash, I love you! But we only have 14 hours to save the Earth!
Number 15. Legend.
And is your heart black and full of hate?
Black as midnight, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest way.
For a long time, Legend was considered one of Ridley Scott's lesser efforts. Critics were divided over the film, praising its stunning visuals and Oscar-worthy makeup while calling out its thin plots and uneven pacing. Mediocre reception aside, its performance was also hindered by a confusing marketing campaign and the release of different versions in the US and international markets, which left audiences confused. But its unique fantasy atmosphere soon gathered legions of fans, and Tim Curry's performance as the Lord of Darkness became a defining aspect of 80s cinema. Various director's cuts and home video releases also helped clear up the confusion and cemented its legacy as a misunderstood fantasy that was ahead of its time.
Human hearts don't work that way.
What care I for human hearts? Soft and spiritless as porridge. A fairy's heart beats fierce and free.
Number 14. Day of the Dead.
Return a salute and see what he does.
You want me to salute that pile of walking pus?
George Romero's Day of the Dead was a huge hit and is widely regarded as the quintessential zombie movie, not to mention the most influential. Hype was quite high for Day of the Dead, but Romero was unable to recreate the lightning in a bottle magic of its predecessor. Gone was the goofy comic book joy of Dawn, replaced with a very dreary and apocalyptic tone and violence that was more grotesque than fun. It was not what people were expecting, especially in the fun, neon-soaked summer of 1985. But hardcore zombie fans and Romero aficionados now recognize Day as a misunderstood masterpiece. And Tom Savini's gore effects are widely regarded as some of the best in movie history.
Forget it, Billy boy. It's a dead place. Like all the others, you know. Listen. You can hear it over the engine.
Number 13. The Transformers, the movie.
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly? That's a question you should ask yourself, Megatron.
Transformers was all the rage in the 1980s, so this movie should have been an easy slam dunk. So imagine the faces on the studio execs when it grossed less than $6 million. A lot of soul-searching and industry analysis was performed, and most people blame the movie's failure on its dark tone that alienated young viewers. This included a surprisingly mature storyline and the haunting deaths of some beloved characters, most notably Optimus Prime. who disappears within the first half hour. But like many subversive films, it came to be appreciated over time, with fans reacting positively to its risky storytelling and fantastic production values, including some brilliant music and animation.
Do not grieve. Soon, I shall be one with the Matrix.
Number 12, the King of Comedy.
Don't tell anyone yet, but you're looking at the new King of Comedy. Why not me? Why not? A guy can get anything he wants as long as he pays the price. What's so funny about that? I mean, crazier things have happened.
When it comes to the films of Martin Scorsese, the King of Comedy is not often brought up, if at all. Before 2019, most people had never heard of it. It was a huge bomb at the time, grossing just $2.5 million with a budget of $19 million. And while it received good reviews, it was considered a disappointment following the cinema-shaking masterpiece that was Raging Bull. But, like we said, this was before 2019. That's when a little movie called Joker came out, and many people compared its story and themes to the King of Comedy. And with this connection, the movie found a new lease on life, and a new generation came to appreciate its timeless qualities.
Well, go ahead and laugh. Thank you. I appreciate it. But the fact is, I'm here. Now, tomorrow you'll know that I wasn't kidding, and you'll think I was crazy. But look, I figure it this way. Better to be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime.
Number 11, Clue.
Well, what now?
Wadsworth, let me out.
No.
Why not?
We got to know who did it. We're all in this together now.
If you leave, I'll say that you killed them both.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Oh, Wadsworth, I'll make you sorry you ever started this. One day when we're alone together.
Mrs. White, no man in his right mind will be alone together with you.
Oh.
Well, I could use a drink.
Oh, so could I.
Just checking.
Everything all right?
Yep, 2 corpses, everything's fine.
Today, Clue is considered one of the quintessential whodunits. A wild romp through an old mansion featuring a dead body, kooky characters, and lots of clever guesswork. There is no Knives Out without Clue, but this certainly wasn't its reputation in 1985. Clue was a huge box office disappointment and tended to generate confusion rather than awe, with audiences raising their eyebrows at the movie's campy tone. Furthermore, the decision to release 3 different endings was met with widespread confusion, and it only fueled the movie's poor word of mouth. Luckily, home video helped clear up this confusion, and audiences finally got the clue that this actually is a pretty darn good movie.
So it was you. I was going to expose you.
I know. So I choose to expose myself. Please, there are ladies present.
Number 10, Dragon Slayer.
All right, I'm coming too.
No, you're not. This is for me to do.
I'm not afraid. After all, I was a man. Remember?
Fantasy is tricky to pull off, but one fantasy film that should have gotten more love is this one, directed by Matthew Robbins. Dragon Slayer is set in a medieval fantasy kingdom that sacrifices a virgin by lottery to a ferocious dragon.
And in return, this dragon, it leaves your villages and crops unburned. Your king's made a pact with a monster.
It's up to young wizard apprentice Galen and Valerian, a young girl disguised as a man, to end the dragon's reign of terror. Although critics were impressed by the special effects and dark themes, audiences were not as enthused. In time, however, it became a cult film, proving that a really good sword and sorcery flick is always appreciated. Eventually. Number 9, Big Trouble in Little China.
You ready, Jack? I was born ready.
It's martial arts and John Carpenter. What else could you possibly need? This fantasy action film may have had a tough time at the box office, but Big Trouble in Little China is a wild adventure from start to finish. The film follows 2 friends, truck driver Jack Burton and Wang Chi, as they descend into Chinatown's underworld to rescue Wang Chi's fiancée. There, they must contend with gangs, fierce warriors, and ancient curses.
God, no. Please, what is that? Don't tell me. Oh,
Guardian, what it sees, Lopan knows.
Although Carpenter was disappointed in the low box office reception and mixed reviews, Big Trouble eventually found new life on TV and home video. The result is a fun, quirky film with undoubtedly wuxia influences.
It's all in the reflexes.
Number 8. Once Upon a Time in America.
How are you, Uncle? You're looking good.
You're looking a little better.
Sometimes great films can be ruined by poor editing. That's the case with this Italian-American gangster film directed by Sergio Leone. The movie follows the rise of two Jewish-American mobsters, David Noodles Aronson and Maximilian Berkowitz. Based on a novel by Harry Gray, it's an epic tale of friendship, crime, love, and betrayal.
Nobody's gonna love you the way I loved you.
While the original almost 4-hour-long version that premiered at Cannes received raves, an edited down 2-hour-plus version released in regular theaters was a complete flop.
It'd be a shame to see a lifetime of work go to waste.
Some of the violence proved so controversial, these scenes were censored. But epics are epics, and Leone's operatic Once Upon a Time proves that some stories need the extra length. Number 7. The Black Cauldron.
You did come for the Black Cauldron, didn't you? Good. Then climbing? It will only cost you your life.
Disney's failures are rarely this mind-boggling or this risky. Based on the novels by Lloyd Alexander, the film follows young Tauren as he attempts to stop the evil Horned King from conquering the world by taking possession of the titular Black Cauldron, full of ancient magic. Tauren succeeds with the help of his friends and Gurgi, a creature who sacrifices himself to defeat the cauldron.
Gurgi has no friends.
Gurgi! No! Don't jump! Wait! No! No!
The film's darkness and lurid scenes scared children when it came out, making this a hard sell to audiences. Still, the movie's beautiful animation, as well as its rich and charming rendition of Welsh mythology, is a clear winner.
You'll not have me. My power cannot die. Curse you!
Number 6. The Monster Squad.
Who are you?
We're the Monster Squad.
With Count Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and the Mummy teaming up, how did this film flop? This horror comedy follows a group of kids as they try to stop Count Dracula and his fellow monsters from taking over the world.
Take him in the north! Take him in the north! He doesn't have north! Do it! Do it!
Wolfman's got Nard.
The kids eventually get their hands on a magical amulet, which opens a portal through which the monsters are safely cast into limbo. Unfortunately, audiences felt the Ghostbusters for Kids vibes were unwarranted, and it underperformed at the box office. In hindsight, however, the monster versus monster aspect of the film is loads of fun and is just as good as any 80s tween adventure.
Where you going, Rudy?
I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?
Number 5. Highlander.
I've been alive for 4.5 centuries. And I cannot die.
Well, everybody's got their problems.
We can now see how this unique premise may have gotten lost in translation. Highlander follows Scottish Highlander Connor MacLeod, who discovers he is part of a race of immortals after surviving a deathly duel. Trained by Ramirez, a Spanish-Egyptian swordsman played by Sean Connery, MacLeod must fight against the Kurgan, a fellow immortal, in a gathering in New York City in 1985.
How do you fight such a savage?
With heart, faith, steel. In the end, there can be only one.
While the film charmed European audiences, U.S. audiences found it incomprehensible due to its dense lore. Most people now praise Highlander's excellent fight scenes, good performances, and epic score.
I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Number 4. Heathers.
Greetings and salutations. You a Heather?
Step into this candy store. Before Clueless and Mean Girls, there was Heathers. This teen film follows Veronica Sawyer as she gets involved with a clique of mean girls, all named Heather.
Damn. It's your turn, Heather.
Now, Heather, it's Heather's turn. Heather.
Unlike the cheery teen comedies of the time, Heathers is a dark take on high school, as Veronica's quest for revenge against Heather Chandler ends in her death. What follows is even more black comedy as Veronica and her boyfriend accomplice JD obtain a high body count. Perhaps all that blood and gore was too much for American audiences, for the film bombed at the box office. Heathers eventually found recognition and appreciation, even becoming adapted into a popular stage musical by the same name.
Veronica, you look like hell.
Yeah, I just got back.
Number 3, The Thing.
I don't know what the hell's in there, but it's weird and pissed off, whatever it is.
Yet another John Carpenter-directed misfire that proved to have staying power. It's hard to believe this seminal sci-fi horror classic did so poorly with audiences and critics at the time.
I don't know who to trust.
I know what you mean, Blair.
Based on the novella, which had already been filmed in the 1950s, The Thing concerns a chameleon-like alien creature that wreaks havoc at a base in Antarctica. American pilot R.J. McCready leads the hunt for this creature, eventually destroying both it and the station. The Thing's dark themes and ambiguous ending were unfortunately not to audiences' tastes. Having to compete with Steven Spielberg's classic E.T. the Extraterrestrial was also tough. Today, it's considered one of the most influential horror films of all time. Now that's no small thing. Number 2, Blade Runner.
I've had people walk out on me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Science fiction can be a tricky genre. Even so, Blade Runner may be the best sci-fi film to have bombed in the theaters. Directed by Ridley Scott, the film follows the titular Blade Runner, Rick Deckard, whose job is to terminate replicants, humanoid androids gone rogue.
Replicants are like any other machine. They're either a benefit or a hazard. If they're a benefit, it's not my problem.
A foundational cyberpunk work, Blade Runner delves into themes about the nature of humanity, morality, and dystopian bureaucracies. The film received mixed critical reviews for its slow pacing and lack of action, although its cinematography was praised. Blade Runner nevertheless won a slew of awards and is now considered one of the greatest films in its genre.
All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Brazil.
What on earth's happened to you now?
My complication had a little complication.
It doesn't seem possible that such an art house dystopian film could have been conceived by Terry Gilliam of Monty Python fame. But he is indeed responsible for the satirical film about a bureaucratic authoritarian government. The movie follows dissatisfied government employee Sam Lowry, who tries to escape his polluted, brutal future world through daydreams. A minor bureaucratic error sets off a chain of events that leads to Sam's arrest.
Don't fight it, son. Confess quickly. If you hold out too long, you could jeopardize your credit rating.
Interrogated unto insanity, Sam disappears into his pleasant fantasies, accompanied by the beautiful strains of Ari Barroso's classic Aquarela do Brasil. Darkly funny and serious at turns, the film could not please general audiences with its downer ending. But Gilliam's vision of totalitarian reality versus idealistic fantasy is more relevant than ever.
Information transit. Got the wrong man. I got the right man. The wrong man was delivered to me as the right man. I accepted him on good faith as the right man. Was I wrong?
Are there any other 80s bombs that you love? Let us know in the comments below.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.